What's up, guys? Got another training question here. I think I answer quick. Andre St. Germain wants to know basically how do I train? Like for example, that's heavy all the time, or so basically, the way I train is mostly on the table, 3 to 5 times a week, as hard as I can. That's the basic training. But there are other things to do with weights, like static holds. I do a lot of recovery work with lighter weights. I might do some rowing work, very little though. But I'll be a little more specific. So let's say there's nothing coming up, no plans for anything on the horizon. Training becomes pretty general. I'll pull hard, but I won't have any specific goals in mind. I'll just try to keep well-rounded. Just try to keep my endurance up, try to keep my power up. I'll be training as much as possible still, but there'll be no real mental focus in it. I'll just be training basically my table instincts. And the weight training stays the same. Nothing too intense with the weights, mostly just the recovery stuff, stretching, trying to keep healthy, basically break it down and then build it back up. If I have something important coming up, I like to pick out somewhere near 2 months away. So at that point, volume goes up a lot. And what I mean by volume is the amount of work I'm doing. I want to be working more than I believe I'm capable of, and really you don't know until you get there, and then you try to go a little further. And you just keep trying to do this every single day with something. It might be training for 5 hours on the table instead of 3. It might be telling yourself that you're going to stay on the table as long as you possibly can without being rude to your teammates, of course, but just trying to stay on the table longer than you did before. Maybe try to go, I don't know if all of you guys out there do like King of the Hill or King of the Table type of thing, and just trying to stay on for as many more rounds than last time, even though you're still beat up. Really starts getting, for me, it starts breaking my body down pretty bad, and it also starts building my brain up to start thinking while I'm pulling. That way, if my body does start to fail me, my brain won't, and I might be able to dig myself out of a bad situation with technique or something along that line. And with the weights, that's when the weights start to go up a bit more, static weights, that kind of thing, because it's just adding to the volume. Recovery stays the same. That really never changes. Just lots of high volume rep, or high volume lightweight, and stretching, that kind of thing. But as I get closer to my goal, which would be whatever event that I'm looking at, roughly 2 months away, the closer I get to it, the shorter the trainings get and the more intense they get. So, I might take a 5-hour practice and I might bring it down to 3 hours, which might seem like a long time, but when your body's very used to 5, it's not so bad. But the matches won't be, they won't be long. Like, I might, for higher volume, I might intentionally put people in long matches to get my endurance better. I'll start going for shorter matches, but more intense. So if I have certain teammates who are just more junior than me, I might have them grab a hold of me with 2 hands and just let me pull as hard as I possibly can for a short burst. That way I'm kind of starting, in my mind anyway, to kind of hone in all this work that I've been doing and getting my body prepared and breaking it down and really just honing it into the specific goal that I have. And that goal might be a certain technique. That goal might be something like just being way stronger than I was, or way stronger, as strong as I possibly can. That goal may be to have better endurance than I've ever had. Whatever your goal is. Just the training sessions become shorter but much more intense. And the same thing happens with the weights. I usually lift or hold for less time, much more weight. And it just kind of continues that until I get to about 9 days out. And 9 days out, I take, that's when I stop pulling. And 9 days might, for some people, seem like a very short amount of time. But when you're used to having your maximum amount of time off the table as being is 2 days, which is that's my maximum amount of time from taking off of pulling is 2 days. Then 9 days is a very long break. And for 5 more continual days, I will still do some lighter weights, or not lighter weights, but moderate statics. My recovery will stay the same. And really, my recovery work will stay the same until 2 or 3 days away. And recovery is just the very, very light, higher rep work. None of that breaks you down. That's not painful. Doesn't make you sore at all. So it's just to really continue the movement, make sure that I'm really healed up, make sure I'm healthy. At that point, that's when I want my joints and everything to be healed, healthy, ready to go. And hopefully, with all that work you've been doing, you can focus it with your brain a little bit to make it really work for you when the time comes. So that's basically how I train. That's basically my thought process on it anyway. The stuff that happens in between there, always changing like all of us. But that's basically it.